And thanks to both of our witnesses for joining us today. Virtually everyone agrees that our immigration system is broken and that it needs to be reformed. For far too long, we've made it comparatively easy for people to cross our borders and stay here illegally, and comparatively hard for those who seek to immigrate to our country through the established legal channels. But solving our immigration woes is not something that's simple or straightforward. We don't face just one big immigration challenge. It's a complex puzzle with dozens of interconnected pieces. And just like the puzzles that we all put together as children, some of the pieces can't be incorporated until others are already in place. Given this unavoidable reality, it's clear that we're not going to be able to fix our entire immigration system overnight, nor could we hope to analyze and discuss even a small fraction of the most critical issues in one or two hearings before this committee. The process of reform will have to be considered and implemented in stages over the course of many years. Clearly, the challenges we face are hard and will take time to address. So it's all the more important that we begin this process immediately. I applaud the efforts of my colleagues who have worked hard to develop the proposal that's before us today. Theirs has been an enormous undertaking, and I appreciate their dedication to making progress toward this kind of lasting reform that we need. Today, I look forward to discussing a few key issues that are part of the enormous immigration puzzle. I've introduced several pieces of immigration reform legislation, at least one of which, the JOLT Act, which has been mentioned several times today, has been incorporated into this bill. But at the outset, I must express two primary concerns with the current bill and with the committee's current path. First, like many Americans, I'm wary of trying to do this all in one fell swoop. Good policy rarely flows from massive bills that seek to fix every problem in a single sweeping piece of legislation. Few legislators and perhaps fewer citizens actually understand everything in such bills, and no one can even pretend to comprehend all the moving pieces and likely outcomes and results. Such wide-ranging legislation inevitably produces unforeseen effects and unintended consequences, especially when it comes to our immigration system. Some reforms are necessary prerequisites for other subsequent reforms. It makes little sense to make decisions about later stages before we know, before the essential foundations are even in place. And it's like trying to put the roof on a new house before raising the walls that will hold it up. In particular, this bill seeks to address the 11 million before other preconditions are actually satisfied. So it treats the 11 million as if they're a single monolithic group, all here for the same reasons and under the same circumstances, which of course they're not. Trying to resolve every issue all at once is also politically problematic. There's broad consensus on some necessary reforms, but others are highly controversial. We ought not hijack common sense and essential measures by linking them to unavoidably contentious ones. My second concern is with the committee's process thus far. Reforms of this magnitude and importance deserve more than a couple of hastily scheduled hearings. This bill was not even made available until Wednesday morning. It totals 844 pages of complicated legislative text with dozens of component parts. Given the unusually and unnecessarily compressed schedule, there's been no real opportunity for senators, staff, or hearing witnesses to read, let alone understand and digest the entire substance of the bill. There's no way that we as a committee could possibly be prepared this morning to debate more than a fraction of this massive bill. It would be impossible to have a meaningful discussion with rigorous analysis under such circumstances. Witnesses were asked to submit written testimony before they could have conceivably read the entire bill. And even with the help of committee staff who have worked through the night in preparation, none of us can honestly say that we understand each provision and how all the pieces fit together. Not even close. That's why I favor a sensible incremental approach. Republicans and Democrats share much in common and agree on a lot of common ground on many of the most immediate issues. On essential elements like border security, employment verification, visa reform, guest worker programs, and high-skilled immigration to meet America's economic needs, we're largely in agreement and could enact significant reforms in these areas. We shouldn't delay meaningful progress in these areas just because we have differences in a few others. Still, each of these issues is complex, and we should have robust and substantive debate over the best way to structure each such reform. I look forward to beginning that discussion today, and thank you for your participation in that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I thank you, Senator Lee.